All right, grab your detective hats and magnifying glasses because today we are on the case. And this isn't just any case. We're cracking the biggest mystery of all time, the past itself. So let's start with a really big question. Just think about it for a second. The past is, gone. So how do we actually know anything that happened thousands of years ago? How can we be sure? Well, that is the giant mystery we are going to solve together today. I mean, just look at this picture. How do we know what kinds of tools these people made or what they ate for dinner? Why did they paint on cave walls? There's nobody left to tell us their story. It's like a giant jigsaw puzzle where most of the pieces are missing, and we're the detectives who have to find them and put it all together. A really smart historian once said that history is an unending dialogue between the present and the past. That's kind of a fancy way of saying that we're always talking with the past to figure out our world today. I mean, why do we live in cities? Why do we have schools? The answers are hidden in the story of what came before. History isn't just about old, dusty stuff. It's about finding the clues that explain, well, everything. Okay, detectives, here's our game plan. First, we'll look at the mystery itself. Then, we're going to crack the time code to get our clues in order. After that, we'll go searching for evidence, meet our team of expert investigators, and finally, we'll solve a real case from the past. You ready to get started? Let's do it. So first up, history's greatest mystery. Every good detective knows that the very first step is to figure out what you're even looking for. So what is the case, exactly? Our target is history itself. And what is that? It's the study of the human past. And we're not talking about just a boring list of dates and names. This is the epic story of us. Every invention, every big idea, every piece of art, and every single person who lived before right now. Our job is to uncover that story. Now, finding a clue is awesome, but if you don't know when it's from, your investigation is going to be a total mess, right? Imagine finding a smartphone at an ancient Roman ruin. It just wouldn't make sense. And that's exactly why our next step is so important, cracking the time code. So, how do we keep track of literally thousands of years? Well, we split all of time into two big chunks. Everything from year one all the way up to today is called the Common Era, or CE. The years just count up, just like your birthday. But for everything that happened before year one, we use BCE, which stands for before the Common Era. And here's the trick. In BCE, the years count backwards. So 300 BCE is actually way older than 100 BCE. It's like a giant countdown to year one. And this right here is the number one most important tool for any history detective. The timeline. It's how we put all the clues in the right order. With a timeline, we can see that the first humans showed up way before they started painting in caves, and that those paintings happened thousands of years before people ever figured out how to farm. It turns a big jumble of facts into a story that actually makes sense. Okay, here's a little brain teaser for you, a fun fact. In our calendar, there is no year zero. Nope, doesn't exist. The calendar jumps straight from the end of 1 BCE right to the beginning of 1 CE. It's just a weird little quirk that can sometimes trip up even the best detectives when they're trying to figure out exactly how long ago something happened. All right, so our timeline is ready to go. We know how to organize time. Now we get to the really fun part, searching for clues. What kind of evidence does the past even leave behind for us to find? Check this out. This is like our detective's clue board, showing all the different kinds of sources we can look at. And just like a real detective, we examine everything, from physical objects to old buildings to written stuff and even stories people pass down. Let's break down the two main types. Our clues pretty much fall into two big buckets. First, you've got archaeological sources. These are the actual physical things people left behind. Their tools, their pottery, the ruins of their homes, even their bones. Then you have literary sources, and that's anything they wrote down. Manuscripts, letters, poems, you name it. A super simple way to think about it is one is what they made, and the other is what they wrote. So let's look at some real clues. On the left, a literary source. That's an ancient manuscript. And on the right, an archaeological source, an old gold coin. They both tell a story. This one coin could tell us who was king because his face is on it. It could tell us how rich that kingdom was, and even who they traded with if we find it hundreds of miles from home. See, every single object has a story locked inside. Now, finding clues is one thing, but you need a whole team of experts to figure out what they all mean. So it's time to meet our investigative team, the History Detectives. First up, we've got the geologist. These experts read the story of the Earth itself. They can look at the rocks and soil and tell us if this place used to be a desert or maybe a forest. Was there a river nearby for fresh water? The geologist helps us understand the world these ancient people lived in, which helps explain why they settled where they did. Next, we call in the paleontologists. These are our fossil hunters. They study the preserved remains of all kinds of ancient life, from tiny plants to huge animals. By studying fossils, they can tell us exactly what creatures were roaming the Earth right alongside our early human ancestors. Our next expert is the anthropologist. They focus on culture. So while other detectives find what people used, the anthropologist helps us understand why they used it. What did they believe in? What were their families like? They help us understand the people behind the clues. And of course, we have the archaeologist. This is probably who you picture when you think of a history detective. They are the ones who carefully dig up the past, uncovering all the tools and pots and buildings that people left behind. They piece together what daily life was like from all these buried treasures. Okay, team, we've learned how to read time, we know what clues to look for, and we've met our expert squad. Now, let's put it all together and solve a real case from the past, uncovering the lives of the very first humans. So, case file, early humans. For most of human history, people were hunter-gatherers. How do we know that? Well, our archaeologists find their simple stone tools. Our paleontologists find the bones of the animals they hunted. And these incredible cave paintings give us clues about their culture, which our anthropologists help us understand. All the evidence points to them living in small groups and moving around a lot, always following the food. Then the case takes a huge turn. Our geologists tell us that the last ice age ended and the world got a lot warmer. And suddenly, the evidence totally changes. Archaeologists start finding different kinds of tools for farming. They find the remains of permanent homes and bones from tame animals like goats and sheep. People learned how to grow their own food. They didn't have to wander anymore, so they built the very first villages. This was a massive game changer, and we can trace that whole story just by following the clues. So there you have it. From just a few clues, a broken piece of pottery, an old fossil, a painting on a wall, we can piece together entire worlds. We cracked the time code, we examined the evidence, and we worked with our expert team to solve the case. The past isn't just a list of facts, it's the ultimate detective story. And now you've got the tools to start your own investigation. So that leaves just one last question. If you were the lead detective, what mystery from the past would you want to solve?